Class, today we are starting a new chapter in our textbook. It's on boundaries. And before we get started on the chapter, I want to know what you already know about boundaries. So we are going to have a pre-quiz. So pull out a piece of paper and a pen and I will give you the questions. Samantha, please put away your phone. And Stephanie, you're gonna write down the answers, honey. You don't need to raise your hand to answer the questions, okay? I hope everyone's ready. Question number 1. Boundaries are mean. True or false? Question number 2. Boundaries are selfish. Question number 3. Boundaries ruin relationships. Question number 4. Boundaries are necessary. The last question is, boundaries are unchristian. So, how are you feeling about your answers? Are you ready to get the answers? Yes? Well, go grab your favorite drink, pull up a chair, and let's get started. Welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Tracy Dickens, a psychologist. And if you have been here before, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, I'm so glad that you found my channel. Today's video is the first video in a series of videos about boundaries, which is a topic I spend a lot of time talking to my clients about. Before I start giving you the answers to the questions, I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page about what a boundary is. Boundaries are expectations and needs that help you feel safe and comfortable in a relationship. Now you have the definition, so let's get to those answers. The first question was, boundaries are mean. The answer is, a lot of times people will say, boundaries are just cruel, they're mean. But actually, boundaries are the most loving thing that you can do in a relationship. Because when you set a boundary, you are telling someone, this is what I need to feel loved in this relationship. This is what I need to feel safe in this relationship. And without these things in place, what will eventually happen over time is that you and I will stop being the best of who we are. We will start doing things and saying things and acting in a way that will eventually lead to resentment, bitterness, frustration, disappointment, and grief. And because I respect you and I respect myself, I'm willing to set parameters so both of us can be safe in this relationship. And I'm giving you the opportunity to decide if, well, you're willing to be in that type of relationship. All that being said, boundaries can be mean if we do not check our motivations. If we are setting boundaries to manipulate people, to gaslight people, to force people to be who we want them to be, but if your boundaries are truly motivated by, I respect you as a person and I respect myself, and these parameters need to be in place so we can both be the best of who we are, then man, that is far from being mean. That is all about love and respect. Question number 2. Boundaries are selfish. And the answer is, that might sound surprising for some of you. At the foundation, at the root of boundaries, it is all about self-care. And sometimes we can think of self-care as being selfish. But here's the thing, you can't fill a glass from an empty pitcher, meaning I can't give to other people. I can't be fully present in a relationship if I'm empty. So, in order for me to fully show up in a relationship and have a healthy relationship, I have to know what my limitations and expectations are for work, family, friends, intimacy, screen time, finances. In these major areas of our lives, we have to be honest about what our limitations are and make sure that we have expectations that are realistic. And when I set my boundaries based on that knowledge, It means that I get to show up as the best me in a relationship. That means when I'm interacting with you, I'm fully present. I'm going to be more cooperative, more compassionate, more loving, more caring. I'm just going to be the best me. That doesn't sound like being selfish. That sounds like thinking about other people and how your actions impact other people. Question number 3. Boundaries ruin relationships. And the answer is, whoops. Yes, it's true. That answer is false. Now, I know many of you are probably thinking about the time that you told somebody what your boundary was, you set a firm boundary, and they walked away. And you were very hurt. And you tell yourself, if I never would have said anything, that person would still be here. But at what cost? At what cost would that person still be there? If you are truly saying, from realistic expectations and awareness of your limitations, what it is that you need in a relationship to feel safe and comfortable, and the person decides that they aren't willing or capable of being that kind of person in the relationship that you're offering, then that is an act of kindness for them to walk away. Otherwise, what you have is fertile ground for resentment, bitterness, disappointment, and grief that's going to choke out the beauty of your relationship. I know it hurts. I know it's painful, but it's better to know today before you invest 10 years into a relationship and you're exhausted and worn out because you're trying to sidestep and get around all these things. As Lysa Terkeurst said in her book, Good Boundaries and Goodbyes, boundaries protect the right kind of love and help prevent dysfunction from destroying that love. Boundaries help us say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done, and establish what is acceptable. Love should be what draws us together, not what tears us apart. Okay, question number 4. Question number 4. Boundaries are necessary. The answer is, yeah. Yes, it's our first true answer. And you probably already figured it out by now. Boundaries are absolutely necessary. You cannot have a healthy relationship without boundaries. You just can't. It's impossible. You have to tell people what you need and expect from a relationship. You can't walk around thinking, well, they should just know, or gosh, it's common sense. I mean, come on. Because here's the thing about common sense. Common sense requires that you both have the same exact life experiences and you interpret those life experiences exactly the same. And that doesn't happen for anybody on this planet. So common sense is a myth. So if you want somebody to know, you're going to have to tell them and give them the opportunity to decide if what you're offering is the best relationship for them. It may not be. And this doesn't mean that you're bad or they're bad or you're good or they're good. We're not even getting into those places of judgment. It's all about what is healthy for both of you. It's all about what is best for both of you. Because if you can't be your best self and the other person can't be their best self, what kind of relationship are you realistically going to be having? Not a very good one, right? Boundaries are 100% necessary for you to have good mental health and for you to have healthy relationships. There's no way around it, folks. Absolutely no way around it. Okay, our final question. Question number 5. The last question is, boundaries are unchristian. And the answer is, false. We are told as Christians that we are to love one another, that we are to forgive. Boundaries seem at odds with love and forgiveness, but they're not. And we serve a God who started on day 1 with boundary setting. He put a limit to darkness by bringing in light. He put a limit to the ocean by breaking it up with land masses. For a little Bible trivia, in biblical times, the ocean was often referred to as chaos. So let that sink in for a second. God put a boundary on chaos. And when you have boundaries, it puts a limit on the chaos that you have in your life. See how that all works together? Are you seeing it? Are you seeing how it all comes together? I want to be clear. When we're called to love one another and to forgive one another, we are not called to accept deplorable, degrading, dishonorable, cruel, toxic behavior. Those aren't godly characteristics, and God is not calling us to be in relationships that have those characteristics. And as far as forgiveness goes, forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. When it comes to boundaries, if you open up the Bible, you will see over and over and over again that God sets boundaries. I love how Lysa Terkeurst says it in her book. Boundaries are not just a good idea, they are a God idea. So, how did you do? Did you get a 100? If you got a 100, that's awesome. High five. And even if you got the 100, come back because I got a lot of information to share with you about boundaries. And if you didn't get a 100, that's okay. We all, including me, have a lot to learn about setting boundaries. If you liked this video, push the likes, thumbs up down there below. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel to come back and hear the rest of the series. And as always, I appreciate you sharing your time with me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And until I see you the next time, choose joy. Bye. Seriously?